aspect that I think is very important for our outreach work, to try to debunk a lot of the quite frank, the myths that we read and hear about the work of the ICTY, and that is to work to improve our visibility in the local media. And I think that is the other area that we would that I would like to focus on. We will be doing that in terms of the structure of the tribunal. We have 3 liaison officers from the registry. We have one just starting in Zagreb, in Sarajevo and in Belgrade, and through the work of those liaison officers and local staff, I hope that we will be able to really strengthen that grassroots activity.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the floor. Please, other questions? And actually, before we do, there wasn't a response, but duly noted the concern expressed in regard to the historic nature of the outreach of the archives and the importance of their location. So thank you for that. Please, other questions? Yes, right there. Yeah.
Mislim da bi bilo manje nesporazuma.
I think that it would be a good idea if one of the panelists finally answered this question that keeps repeating itself. Where will the location of the archive be? What is the difference between originals and copies if we have a digitalized archive? It would be very useful, and it would help many people understand that there is no difference between an original and a copy. And second, it would be very useful if one of the panelists answered why it was important for the archive to be in the same place as the residual mechanism. That would remove a lot of the existing misunderstanding. And Mr. Simonovic mentioned it again today, and perhaps I may ask him to give a brief explanation of why this link exists between the residual mechanism and the archive in one place.
Has everyone wilted? In the far back there, yeah, and please.
Yes, hello, thank you very much. My name is Valja Geka, and I'm working in Bosnia and Herzegovina for the last 2 years. And just very shortly, I am afraid that this issue of the archives might be causing some second trauma for the victims, because there are so many concerns raised these last 2 days. And I think that this continues on the point that Ms. Kandic just made. Not transferring the archives to Bosnia and Herzegovina doesn't mean that Bosnia and Herzegovina is not a stable state, and does not mean that the memory of the incidents that took place, of the crimes, will be forgotten. There are ways to make sure that these crimes are not committed again, and that the memory of the people stays alive. And this is not going to happen necessarily through the archive. There are other ways. And I just want to continue Ms. Kandic's point. I think that the technical nature of where the archives will be based and their distinction to these information centers should be cleared up a little bit for the sake of the victims. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Okay. Another question not directed exclusively to the archives, and I say that again with all genuine respect as to the importance of the issue, but are other questions not archive related, please? You, sir. Yeah.
Thank you. Just a very quick question. I think it comes out of this as looking at the way forward. Moving from the so-called judicial truth to truth in general, truth-telling. And we know that there were no obviously national truth commissions so far, and there is an initiative to go regionally. And given the emphasis that's been given, especially by representatives of ministries of justice, in relation to the truth-telling process, I wonder whether they would be able to tell us whether they will be open to consider such a mechanism on regional level.
Okay, good question. Thank you for that. All right, well, let's do this. Let's start with that one. We'll put it to the ministers who are here. In your response, officially or in your personal capacity, in regard to the Truth Commission initiative that is been proposed, and how you see that, and how do you think that would advance this process in your two respective countries? Either Minister Simonovic or Arnaud, please.
I think it's extremely important to clarify what has happened in the territory of former Yugoslavia. I think ICTY contributed a lot, but there were other proceedings between the states concerned. I'm referring to genocide cases before International Court of Justice. So those legal proceedings are all pieces of a puzzle. Concerning ICTY, one of shortcomings of ICTY was the death of President Milosevic and our inability to get the sentence, which would in many respects be a framework of individual events that took place within former Yugoslavia. We must find a way to overcome that. We need, for the future generations, establish more reliably what has really happened. I think it's extremely dangerous to have national, if not nationalistic, truths, myths, and legends about past events. It's less easy to say how to do it, whether truth commissions, how to conduct those truth commissions. The history of truth commissions was more or less related to truth commissions that were established after atrocities in a single country. Now, we are having a number of countries, and it makes things much more complicated. Whether those truth commissions should include only experts from the region or foreigners as well, what would be the character of such truth commissions? I wouldn't exclude possibility and potential of truth commissions, but I am aware of the obstacles as well. It's not only truth commissions. I think that we should not rely on a single structure which will resolve all our differences. I believe in dialogues between academic community, in dialogues between states, in dialogue between non-governmental organizations. I think it's safer to use many channels than to rely on a single one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair point. Minister Arnaud, please.
I will be speaking in my own name. I think that in the region of the former Yugoslavia, and that includes Bosnia and Herzegovina, we've had commissions and attempts to have truth commissions. Can anybody in this hall say that they are against establishing the truth? Also, we've heard many times over the past 2 days that the court is judging and convicting the culprits, and then it is for the time to come to take that material and the material of the domestic courts and for the cooperation between states to continue establishing a truth which would be common to all. I'm aware that there are many dangers lurking. As Mr. Simonovic said, which methodology, which countries? Is it Bosnia, Herzegovina, Montenegro, Serbia, Kosovo, Croatia? And who, apart from these agencies, is involved from the international community in this? In such a commission, we would have to have a moderator like you to direct the work and help channel this conflict in the former Yugoslavia into a framework which we would all find easy to believe in.
That strikes me is the value of many different modalities. There is no question as to the primacy and importance of criminal justice. I think what I have heard, and this is a personal reflection of mine, obviously, over the last 2 days, is a set of expectations about what the tribunal, as a internationally constituted criminal body, as well as perhaps national courts, what these judicial instruments will be able to do in writing a history and righting wrongs. And I want to weigh in here as a longtime proponent of criminal justice, but I think it's absolutely essential to adjust our expectations in terms of what these judicial bodies are able to do. Now, one might say I'm giving an easy pass to these judicial bodies. I think the answer is it can't be the tribunals or the war crimes chambers by themselves. There need to be a panoply of instruments, such as a truth commission, such as accessible archives, such as discussion and dialogue, that only together will help frame history in a way that new generations will really be able to learn. So the saying, "see you in the next war," won't have the resonance it has in this room and in the region today. So maybe we could approach a little bit this question again in respect of the importance attached to the archives here. Just a bit about, one, the differentiation between digital and original, and some of the concerns that were mentioned about perhaps a bit of unnecessary anxiety attached to the location of the archives. And I do that in respect of the depth and intensity this issue has generated. So please, any of the panel members who care to speak to those more technical issues, do so.
Well, I'm going to say something that I don't think anyone else on the panel can say, which is that while it would be optimal, I think, for symbolic reasons, to have the physical papers and documents and other evidence located in the region, I think that security is a real concern. The fact that we can say, the fact that "see you in the next war" has resonance in this room